Graham, good to see you.
Hi,
We'll start with your team news. Did everyone come through Blackpool all okay?
Pretty much so, yeah. I think it was a tough game, as they always are in England, physical side. But no, the players have trained really well this week.
Just for clarity, does Max miss tomorrow because of his yellow card?
Yeah, he's suspended, yeah.
How big of a miss will Max be?
I'll tell you tomorrow night.
Fair enough.
It's I believe that we have tried for a long time to create a group that any player missing doesn't detract from the overall strength of the team. There's elements of all the individuals that bring their own aspect to the team, but I believe we play in a way where the collective is stronger than the individual. We know of Max's qualities and what he brings to the team, but there's other players within that group that have their own attributes that then can flourish and make sure that we get the same performance as we've had. I think the thing with a player like Max, or a character I'd say like Max, is he's all in, he's up front, and but I always believe that there's other strong characters within our groups, and we'll see that tomorrow.
And I guess someone with Max's experience and, as you say, character, that can still do the best to help out during the week and the lead up to the game.
Yeah, I've not noticed anything different from him. He's trained properly, as he always did. It's just his habit, and he wants to be involved tomorrow. He wants to come to the game with us and be with the team. So yeah, of course he's the captain. He's such an influential person for us. So, but listen, I always feel that I don't like it when any team is over reliant on an individual. I think you've got to have that strength in depth, and you've got to have the characters that don't see weakness when one player gets changed for another. So I expect that to be the case tomorrow.
Just on a couple of your longer term absentees, Curtis Tilt and Callum Kavanagh, how's their progression going? Is it still all on track?
Yeah, Cav, yeah, he's still training. So he just needs to his workload, his endurance base needs to be extended. Until it's the first time I've seen him just there actually without his brace on, so that's good. That was just precautionary to keep his leg exactly where it needed to be, but that's the first day he hasn't had it on. So I've got a feeling that Tilty will be a fast healer, and he's chomping. He wants to be back now. He's devastated. He's injured.
I know after the Blackpool game you said that was your best win of the season, most satisfying win of the season. If you've had a chance to look back on that a few days on, Graham, why do you feel that was the case?
I just felt that because of the wins that we've already had this season, because of the league position of the opponents, or the size of the opponents, or the pre-season expectation of the opponents was there before the game. That when we won the game, I don't think we were expected. People hoped and wanted us to win. Obviously, those connected with Bradford, but I don't think there was a massively high expectation. Whereas I believe after our results, going into a game against a team towards the bottom end of the table, even though it's so early, those expectation levels can rise. I want our players to be grounded and understand the challenge regardless. And after the Newcastle game as well, because it was such a high-profile game for us all as a club. And then the space in between was minimal. Obviously, we only had 2 days, whereas Blackpool had the week. Which is a significant difference. But I just think even if anyone would have played a normal game on the Tuesday or Wednesday, I think playing a team and a game of that magnitude always extends that, and the energy that the players spent in that game was massive. So all those things into consideration, and Blackpool are a hurt animal. They've got a top manager, really good squad. So it was all telling me that it was going to be a tougher game than maybe people might have perceived. But I thought the players went about it in exactly the right way. You could see the first half there was an element of frustration sometimes with the team, because it didn't go our way straight away. But I thought the maturity and the professionalism showed in the second half was superb, and it was another step forward for us, I felt, on Saturday.
Do you think it's a similar circumstance and test going into tomorrow night with what you've said on Blackpool?
Only from the league position side of it. We obviously haven't played a Champions League club 2 days before this game, so that gets taken out of the equation. So, but it's a Yorkshire derby. We're going away from home, and Rotherham are in a position they don't want to be in as well. So the challenge stays the same for me, without a shadow of a doubt. But I say it all the time, whether the team's top, whether they're bottom, we show them the amount of respect we should do, and then we focus on ourselves.
And I know I appreciate it's like a lot of outside noise, but when you go to your Cardiffs and the Newcastles, and many people will be saying it's a home win for them.
Yep.
That was different on Saturday, wasn't it? The onus is more on you. It might be the same tomorrow. Does that change anything?
No, I think the players are learning to not adapt, I would say, but stay consistent with their mindset and what we have to do in the game. That's the biggest thing. There's always a different sort of element to every game of football that you play, because obviously the opponents differ every single time. So there's always a different angle that people can look at the game from. But what I like about my players and my team is we look at every game as the same thing. So, you know, whether we're playing at home or we're playing against Newcastle away, we still go in with the same approach. And I think that consistency is massive for us. And we have to maintain that. But so I've not seen any signs within our squad that that will be a problem for us going forward, as in the mindset of it, you know, underestimating an opponent. I've not seen that so far. I don't expect to see it because we've got really good players. And
I imagine in times in your career, you were part of squads that with results, it builds expectation. People start sitting up and taking notice of you. Yeah. With all that experience that you've got, Graham, how easy or difficult is it to keep your feet on the ground and your squad's feet on the ground?
I think look, football has humbled me many a time. So as soon as I got above my station in my head, it brought me straight down to earth. So I've learned many a hard lesson over the years. So and I think we've got good experience within the squad. I think they see from me and my staff that we don't get too high, we don't get too low, and we just try to maintain context of every situation. We've still got the same ambition and drive every single day to be better. If there's something to be said, if there's something to be improved upon, we talk about it and then we work on it. If there's something really good and we need to keep going, we remind the players of it. So our sort of processes reasonably stay the same. And I think that gives you a balance mentally to just approach every game or every training day and then every game in the same fashion. And I think if we do that, then we maintain our standards.
I met up with Bobby on Monday at Valley Parade to see his mural that's painted in the main stand. I mean, you talk about staying grounded. He says himself he's living every Bradford City's dream. But in that, whenever we speak to him, he feels like he epitomises that, just stay grounded, stay humble.
100%. I think, I'll talk about this in the past. It's not always vastly experienced players or people that can set examples. It could be anybody that behaves right, shows the right signs, has the right professionalism, the right humility, all those sort of things, work ethic, all the good things that people talk about that make up a good working environment, and that's in any work of life, or walk of life, I should say. And I think Bobby does epitomise Bradford as a city, and certainly what we try to be as a club and a team. I think he's overcome odds throughout his 5-6 years at Bradford, since signing as a professional, to become an established member of the first team at a new level for him and the club since he joined as a pro, and he's flourishing. But it's because of his work ethic. If you watch him train today, it's like it's a game day for him. He's all in all the time. He's not scared of anything, but he doesn't pretend to be anything else. He just wants to be the best version of himself every day. And if he can improve slightly, he's always willing to take on information, lessons that he learns in the game himself. So I've got no concerns on a young player like Bobby. He's obviously been brought up really well. He's got a great family around him, and I think he really enjoys the environment he's in. I think he's just finding it a great place to play his football.
And on that work ethic, I know we've spoken and you've talked about running stats and how your team do so well in there. Is having that work ethic and that commitment, that drive, is that half the battle to success?
I'd say it's more than half the battle. I'll be honest. I think many of us as footballers, I don't think we can understand why we're blessed at a young age to have this ability to play football. You know, I think it comes to players naturally at 5, 6, 7, 8 or whatever. But then it's what you do with it that directs where you go, how high you go, whether you maximise your potential or not. And so we're all blessed or born with some sort of ability that has come from somewhere. But work ethic and practice and focus and discipline, all those sort of things, I don't think they particularly come naturally to people. So you have to understand it and you have to be willing to do things that you don't particularly want to do. So it's whether on your day off, 2 days before a game, you're resting up and keeping your energy, or you're off on a golf course for 6 hours. That's going to dictate where your career is going to go. And I think you see people like Bobby. You can't perform at the level he's performing at consistently, and the output he gives in training and games, if you're not doing all the right things away from home. Away from work, I should say. So I think that for me is it's why I talk about it a lot, because I think it's overlooked sometimes. Or I think people, and listen, I was one of those people in my younger days at certain points where I didn't work as hard as I could have. I felt I was on the training pitch, but away from it I wasn't. And my career was showing that at the time. I wasn't going anywhere. It was only when I understood that there was a lot more for me to give. And once I started giving it, it started coming back to me. And hopefully we can influence our players, push them to understand that. And I think we've got great examples. I'm already using people like Max Powell to other individuals in our squad, and he's taking them under their wing, showing what it's really about when you come in to do a day's work. So I feel we've got a really good environment for those players.
When was that moment for you where was there a sliding doors moment when you wanted to put a bit more in, or did it just happen in a way?
I think it was accumulation at the time. I think I really had it as a younger kid before. I strived to be a professional footballer. I got an opportunity, and then I probably took it for granted after a few years in my early 20s, I would say. But I just stayed at the same level, and I saw other players moving on, and I felt that ability-wise I had as much as them. But I felt there was something missing. I went searching for answers, really, and I found them, and I realised I had to work a lot harder and put a lot more effort into everything else around the game of football, not just my training session, but everything before it, after it, how I ate, lived, slept, drank, the lot. So it was accumulation of understanding it myself, being discontented with what I was, where my career was, and meeting the right people at the right time, and then hopefully listening.
I guess the stage of your career now, Graham, as well, one of the biggest satisfactions must be seeing your group of players, all the right attitudes and having success like they did at the end of last season, carrying into this season. I
think that's every coach or manager's true sort of calling, I would say, or true sort of joy, is when you, especially for a person like myself who's been lucky enough to have a football career himself, because not all managers have had playing careers, so which doesn't make any difference when you are a manager. But certainly from my perspective, because I can only speak from my own experience, but experiencing those moments as a player, experiencing the help I had as a player and the support I had from other people, coaches, teammates, all that sort of thing, family. Then when you get onto this side, you're the one that's trying to enable them to have the same sort of memories and emotions and feelings, and you want to try and make some sort of impact on them in some capacity. So when they finish their careers, they can look back and they've fulfilled all their potential, and they believe that at some small part we've played our role in that. And I think that's really rewarding for any coach or manager. I think that's our true calling, that and winning. I think we love winning as well. So and competing. So I think it's a role or a job that's it has many different avenues of joy, and I really enjoy that part of it. Thank you.
You spoke the other week about how the fixture schedule now is completely different to how it used to be.
Yeah.
You can play on more or less any day. Thursday this week.
Yeah.
Presumably that means for you and the rest of the coaching staff, you're having to continually adapt what you do on different days in training.
Yeah, I think so. We have a certain schedule leading up into a game. So it was a rest day yesterday, and I forgot it was a Tuesday. It didn't seem like a Tuesday. It's a bit like everyone has it when they're off work. Their diary gets messed up in their head, doesn't it? And you get into that pattern. So, but we've become used to it over the years, because the fixture list has been, not so much at our level. I think certainly the higher level with Champions League and Sky and everything. I think it goes every day. Whereas this is quite an unusual one for us, Thursday night. I'm not sure if I've ever played on a Thursday night, to be honest, or managed. So it might be a first for me. But look, when you get to the game, that's why we try to keep the 48 hours exactly the same all the way through, even at Christmas and that. We always try to keep the same 48 hours, because you can only keep so many things consistent, because there's so many changes in the nature of football. So if we can keep that 48 hours the same and adapt everything else, I think it gives the players a calmness going into the game. Because really, the real focus on a game of football is 24 hours really before, if you're a player. It's sort of there, but you focus on training. It's only the day before where you really get your head round, right, we've got a game tomorrow. So we try to maintain that sort of that profile of our diary, and hopefully it pays dividends at the end of the season.
And presumably that also is where the resting and everything comes into it as well, that you almost forget what day of the week it is, you just know what the routine is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. We work from match to match. It's not like the social side of it is, well, I know for me it isn't at the forefront because I don't have one. So, but the fixture list is the first thing, and you work around that, and you work back from that really. So you identify a game and you come back. I know what the 48 hours need to look like, and then do we overtrain in this period and stuff. So it's different times, but I quite like it because it asks you questions, it makes you find answers, it makes you find solutions. I think it breaks up the norm a little bit, because it can be like that if you're in a long football season. So it's just another experience. Once we come down to the game, the lads will be ready. Their heads will be on it. It's a night game, floodlights on. I think every player loves playing at night games in front under the floodlights, and I know I think we're taking 2,500 there, so great atmosphere. It's good. It's a brilliant stadium, I feel, to play football. So we're looking forward to the game. Okay,
and also, Graham, the extra factor is it's on TV. I mean, we used to sort of joke about players, a lot of sharp haircuts appear for TV games, but because it's the only game on, it's not like there's lots of games on you can flick between them. It's sort of got that spotlight nationally, isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't know it was the only game, but it will be because it's Thursday. Look, those sort of things just don't come into my mind, to be honest. I think they probably did as a player. When I first started experiencing playing it on live TV and stuff like that, and you start thinking about that. But if you do it more often, it becomes the norm. Then it just doesn't come in your mindset really. So I would expect all our players to be focused on the game. It won't be the first time we've obviously played on TV, but I think we've started the season really well. We need to understand, and we do understand, what has given us that small period of success, and just keep maintaining it. So all the other stuff on the periphery, I think we've been really good at keeping that on the periphery, not even talking about it in-house. I know you've just asked me about it, so people will talk about it, but I think it's good exposure for both teams. I think it's good. I think it's great what Sky do with the whole EFL, because I think there's so much quality throughout the EFL. It's not just highlighted in the Premier League. The Premier League's a monster of a division, but the EFL is superb. I think there's so many good players and good teams and quality managers. I think they do a great job with their full coverage of it. So I think they need a pat on the back for that, because it gives clubs like ourselves and players like ours the opportunity to show people what they're about.
I was going to say, to answer the question, I mean, you know, sometimes people who perhaps don't watch lower league football regularly might not realise that it's probably a much better product than perhaps they perceive it to be.
Yeah, I think, like you say, because we're the only game, I think there'll be the neutral watching it, whereas if it was a load of games and there was Premier League games or Champions League or whatever, I think there'd be, you know, a limited audience, I would say. But because it's the only game, people love watching football, live football. You all have the opportunity. So, it might have fresh eyes on the game from our perspective. But I'll be honest, the ones we're concerned about are the ones that watch us all the time, and that's the Bradford fans. So our motivation will be high, and it will be the same for the same reasons we always have. It's for our own benefit and our supporters.
And as you say, it's going to be a cracking atmosphere again.
Yeah.
But this team has shown it can thrive on that sort of occasion, isn't it? You know, home and away.
Yeah, I think so. I think, like I said, but I think we've become accustomed to it because there's been so many big games, certainly in the last 6 or 8 months. I think the players have just become accustomed to that sort of feeling, that build-up, the sort of profile, the meaning of the game and so forth. So I think certainly from anyone's perspective, it would be you guys. I'm sure your first interview might not have been as smooth as it is now, mate. But but it is, you know, as you become used to things and you do them more often, I think if you've got anything about you get better at it, you learn from it, and it becomes the norm. So I think the players I wouldn't say it's the norm, but I think they're getting used to playing big games at big stadiums, big atmospheres, and I think they thrive in it. I think and so they should. It's what you play football for. You want excitement. You want to enjoy your football. You want to play in front of big crowds at great stadiums, and we've been really fortunate so far this season that we've had more than our fair share of those.
And obviously, you mentioned Max Power not playing, and you talk about it's the team, not the individuals.
Yeah.
You know, but he is one player who has started every league game so far.
Yeah.
So it is a significant miss in terms of, you know, how many minutes he's been out there of your season so far.
Yeah, but I think but. Which couple of games did he not play? Was it Stoke? I don't think he played. I think
he started all the league games.
Yeah. But you know, Stoke was a tough game. He didn't play that, and we won that one. I think we got good players, and I'm not putting down Max's impact because it's easy to see, you know, and feel, and it's what we brought him here for. But you know, the thought of relying on one player that would hurt me. To be honest, as a manager, that we haven't built a group strong enough to miss any individual. I mean, because they can miss through suspension, injury, whatever it is. So the collective always has to be as strong as any individual all the time. There's no successful teams that play on one man. So that's what we have to. That's another challenge that the players are going to have to take on tomorrow. That they haven't got their captain out there. They haven't got the voice that's been there. But it's a great opportunity for other players to show what they're about. But they don't have to do that. They just have to play their normal games. Obviously, when Max is talking in the changing room, there's 3 or 4 others, 4, 5, 6 others talking at half-time before the game. That's how we want it to be. It's how we recruit. It's how we encourage players to have a voice, to make an impact. So for me, I think it's an opportunity to show the real strength of our squad.
I was just sort of thinking, your group of players, Graham, they're a real good, humble group. Strike me as not the sort who'll get caught up with league tails and thinking, if we win this, we'll be, you know, this. It seems like they can blank that out.
I believe so. You know, look, I'm not in there. I'm not in their change room during the week, so I don't know what they're talking about in there. Yeah. Thank God, 25 years difference, so I can imagine the rubbish they're talking about in there. But no, I think I go off performance. You know what I mean? I think whatever you're doing off the pitch, how it's going in the change room, on the training pitch, on the back of the bus. If you're going out there and performing week in, week out, you're doing something right and you've got the right mindset. It doesn't guarantee that you'll continue to win every single week or whatever, but I think it keeps a balance there. And I think we have got the individuals that understand the game. There's lots of games in there, in under their belts, and it's how we are as well as a staff. And I think it's important. I really think it's important because we've done nothing yet. We haven't achieved anything yet. All we've done is give ourselves a good base to attack the rest of the season, really. So, but we should take strength from what we've done because we've won some really good games.
Motivation a little bit. I mean, only time you lost at Doncaster, just up the road, big away following, disappointing.
Yeah.
So particularly first half. Was that a little motivation for you going into?
I don't think of motivation. I think it's a learning experience for us.
Yeah.
So okay, how do we start that game? How do we approach that game? And we talked about it after the game during the week, and we highlighted it to the players what we felt was different from other weeks. They went into the next couple of league games and got 2 fantastic victories against Cardiff and Huddersfield. So they learned from that occasion. We have to put whatever we experience in games going forward, we have to take the strength from it and understand where we can improve. And I think we've certainly done that. But so we know where the base of our game is, and the base of any game really. You have to be competitive. You have to do hard yards. You have to get close to your opponent. So that was the one thing we didn't do in that first half against Doncaster. So I'll be massively surprised if we experience that again.
With the senior sort of players, you got quite a lot of know-how. It can be adaptable as well. I mean, you look at like Brad Halliday, he can play wing back, he can push in on the right of a 3.
Yeah.
The same with Ibu and probably players further forward with Nick Powell. Yeah. That's what you're getting as well. You're getting quality, and you sort of, if you ask them to be adaptable, they'll get it straight away, won't they?
Yeah, because when we do our analysis, we obviously have our groups, so we split up, but we do a lot of full squad analysis as well on how the team plays, defending, attacking wise. So not only are you looking at your own position, but you're looking at the other position you might be able to play because of your attributes and so forth as a player. And I think it's important for us to open that door for players because I think it gives them more opportunity to play football. Yeah. I think it's I played in 2 significantly different parts in my career. I played in midfield for a massive chunk, and I played at right back for a massive chunk. But also played at left back. I played centre forward 2 games, not very well to be honest, but I'd give it my best. But I just want to be on the pitch, and I think having that opportunity. I know how our team needs to work, and the elements we have to have, from front to back and everything. But I know there's players that are not playing in particular positions, but I know they have the attributes to give us what we need as a team. Yeah. And I think for me as a player, if a manager wanted me to play in different position and still play first team football, I was all over it. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's it. I'm out on the pitch. So I think it's good for the individual to add more strings to his bow, to be able to add more strength and have a sort of understanding what his teammates go through as well. So it's not something we don't try to be overly clever. But what I'd like to give is the players the best opportunity to be out on the pitch and help their team. So, but there's a lot of simplicity, I think, in how we deliver things to the players, and it's easy to understand if you've got an open mind. So, but then they've got to go with an open heart as well when they go and get asked to do that job. They've got to commit to it and not just do it second best. And I think our players have shown great qualities in doing that. I think Brad and Ibby are great examples of that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you finally, your assistant Chris. I mean, you're a great sort of duo. But what's the sort of secret to you sort of success? Are you different individuals? What's
we trust each other massively. That's the biggest thing. I think we played next to each other for 6 years, so we built up a real strong respect for each other. We weren't that close, as in like we wasn't me and him walking around the club or anything or socialising. It wasn't that sort of relationship, but it was one built upon respect and a competitive edge that we wanted our team to win. And then we got coaching and we sort of developed over the years. I think we've still got rough edges, we've still got things to learn, I think, which is great. But the biggest thing I would say is trust. That if I wasn't in for a day, I knew everything would go exactly as it has done, because he's my eyes, my ears, my brain sometimes, my cooling fan, sometimes everything, you know what I mean? So I think we know each other, and he knows that I can help him, and I certainly know from my perspective he helps me a lot.